way for you to contribute to our production and get great rewards in return. Join us to make videos like these happen.
Diabetes refers to a group of conditions characterized by a high level of blood glucose, commonly referred to as blood sugar. Too much sugar in the blood can cause serious, sometimes life-threatening health problems. There are two types of chronic diabetic conditions: type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Pregnant women may acquire a transient form of the disease called gestational diabetes, which usually resolves after the birth of the baby. Prediabetes is when the blood sugar level is at the borderline, higher than normal, but lower than in diabetics. Prediabetes may or may not progress to diabetes. During food digestion, carbohydrates, or carbs, break down into glucose, which is carried by the bloodstream to various organs of the body. Insulin is a hormone produced by beta cells of the pancreas and is necessary for glucose intake by target cells. In healthy people, beta cells of the pancreas produce insulin. Insulin binds to its receptors on target cells and induce glucose intake. In type 1 diabetes, beta cells of the pancreas are destroyed by the immune system by mistake. The reason why this happens is unclear, but genetic factors are believed to play a major role. Insulin production is reduced. Less insulin binds to its receptor on target cells. Less glucose is taken into the cells. More glucose stays in the blood. Type 1 is characterized by early onset. Symptoms commonly start suddenly and before the age of 20. Type 1 diabetes is normally managed with insulin injection. Type 1 diabetics are therefore insulin dependent. In type 2 diabetes, the pancreas produces enough insulin, but something goes wrong either with receptor binding or insulin signaling inside the target cells. The cells are not responsive to insulin and therefore cannot import glucose. Glucose stays in the blood. In other words, type 2 diabetics are insulin resistant. Here again, genetic factors predispose susceptibility to the disease, but it is believed that lifestyle plays a very important role in type 2. Typically, obesity, inactive lifestyle, and unhealthy diet are associated with higher risk of type 2 diabetes. Type 2 is characterized by adult onset. Symptoms usually appear gradually and start after the age of 30. Type 2 diabetes accounts for about 80 to 90% of all diabetics. Management focuses on weight loss and includes a low-carb diet.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that rendering there. Doctor, yes, we don't come back. So tell we small how it be and how thing did work.
About the topic or the different one?
Yes, the topic
Okay.
now we don't come for inside diabetes. So tell we
yeah.
small way to way diabetes be no na the thing we want for to read today for we contribute
Okay,
with
no,
them.
I mean, wait for the specific question. Okay, so as we don't listen to that very good audios, them, and we respect all copyrights rules. Diabetes simply means that you get blood. You get plenty sugar for your blood. When we talk say sugar, I don't mean I say that the white sugar where you take and chop and what you put inside tea and coffee. Because we get different food groups. Then we get carbohydrates, we get proteins, we get fat. Carbohydrates are mainly things that like fufu, rice, potatoes, white yams, all those white things. And the main source of carbohydrates are. And when the be broken down, actually, when you chop, whatever you chop, whether you chop fufu and arrow or you chop plantains or you chop yam, after the digestion, the food now be broken down into those uh, into glucose. Actually, that's the end molecule where your body fit use them as fuel, as petrol for motor, so to say. So every cell where you work for your body, from your brain to your heart cell to your muscle to your kidney cells, all cells of your body, they need energy, just like your motor did energy. So when we eat those foods, they be broken down into glucose. That glucose now therefore be transported into the cells, the target cells, where you need them, and every cell need them. So the brain need the glucose. We get muscles the way we work out, when you do all this work, they need the glucose. So for that glucose for to be used after we don't chop, it be actually high in with blood. The chop will be digested in our intestines and all of that, and then the end molecules and the glucose, the basic product, now absorbed through the walls of the intestine into the bloodstream. So now for inside our bloodstream, we'll get a high level of that glucose after we don't chop a high calorie diet or carbohydrate diet. But now it then inside blood cells. But we need that petrol, the place where they need it. How you explain that maybe in our motor? When you put petrol inside the tank, maybe that will not be the petrol need for go for the different parts and for the motor to make a may run. But anyway, maybe some very good example. When we eat, that food need for go for the target cell. Means say we muscle cells that need that energy. And for all of that to happen, you get you get steps then for transportation where that glucose get to be absorbed through the walls of the intestines into the bloodstream, and then from the bloodstream now to the cells and they need energy, and we all body cells that need energy, from muscle cell to brain cells to all things that they need energy for function. So now for they now where the problem they part of the problem is, so when we get a high blood sugar for inside blood, but we not get access for bring them into the cells, that's a problem. Because they get in the chop, they chop, and you know mean I say that they over chop too much sugar. They feel they chop normally, but for one reason or the other, they don't get insulin. Insulin are the hormone way it help for transport now this glucose, when at the end product of the digestion, into from the blood into the cells then. So that made the cells feel use on like petrol. I don't know whether it makes sense, Pastor Commando.
It makes sense. It makes sense. So,
Yeah.
so wetin wey be diabetes na that one way they explain and so no.
Yeah, so diabetes is a state where you get high sugar for your blood,
Uh-huh.
but your cells they actually be hungry, because that for come up from your blood enter for your cells, there's a problem, and that problem be because of insulin deficiency. There are different types of diabetes, so the cause how you put them they be slightly different, but at the end of the day, the point I say, we not get enough insulin for carry the blood sugar, sorry, the glucose from the blood into the cells. So you end up having a high level of sugar or glucose in your blood, where they make your blood they like it thick, they like mud. But at the level of your cells and where the cells that need that energy, they don't get them, because insulin not there for transport them from the bloodstream into your cells. I don't know if you remember at the beginning of that picture where we'll see anyway, the diagrams, they seem a bit complicated. The glucose molecules and they're inside with bloodstream. But now for the cells, the mass, say for the muscle side, where you need that energy, you need you need insulin receptors that will stand for there for feed help for catch that glucose, bring them to the cells. So for type 1 diabetic means not just we get different types. Maybe my put them that way. So you get type 1 diabetes, you get type 2 diabetes, and then you get other subtypes where it comes up diabetes during pregnancy. Sometimes in pregnancy, especially for the last part, for the third, which we call third trimester, some women get high sugar. Anyway, so with type 1, wait to be insulin, as I talk, insulin, they're like a carrier, my hormone way to transport glucose from into the cells. Yeah, where now the place where they need for use them where they need for use the glucose like energy. So the problem say we not get enough insulin, and there are different reasons why we not get insulin enough of that insulin where it will do that work for transport the glucose into the cells where be needed. In type 1 diabetics, they actually, the organ where they produce insulin, it be called the pancreas. Yeah, the pancreas, that's an organ for we belly, as if you put them, when I the cells and then it produce insulin. So for some people then that process be damaged for some reason. Your own immune system they attack yourself, so you don't damage that pancreas, but where the pancreas just no fit produce insulin at all. And usually that cases, type 1 cases, them are younger people, them under 20. And because they don't just produce insulin, they don't get no other way out. They must depend on insulin. They must get artificial insulin, for replace, for solve that problem. Otherwise, they would starve. Meanwhile, they get a high blood sugar, but they know if then their cells they not actually get access to that sugar. So I don't know if that one don't give some small explanation. Then for the type 2, which is the second part. Oh my God, I get the second type. The type 2 people with type 2 diabetics, when are the commoner, type, so to say. 90% of people that they be diabetics na type 2. And then 10% that they form that type 1. And then you get that other subgroups, them like the how you call them, the pregnancy, diabetes, and some other mixed types. They will just talk about the main things. So now for the type 2 diabetes, waiting it happen, I say the pancreas, as I be explained. For the type 1, oh, where's my camera? Oh my God, sorry. Okay. Type 2, sorry. For type 2 diabetics, their pancreas is still produce insulin. But for some reason, the insulin not be able to be used up because either um, the receptors they need to work, somehow that process of actually the signaling, meaning how people put this one with pigeon. So ma put it this way: type 1, their pancreas they no fit produce insulin completely, so they be dependent on insulin. They must the choke injection for feel leave. Type 2, their pancreas, that organ where they produce insulin, is still work. But the thing I say, the end organ where they need that glucose, they not be sensitive to that insulin. So that insulin no fit still be used. Even though it be produced, the muscle cells them, for some reason, either the receptors and get some problem, or the transportation or something along the chain of the transport, it be defective, such that finally, even though they produce the insulin will be useful because they call it say insulin tolerance. They be insulin tolerant for one reason or the other. Either through receptors, the way they don't be tired. When you use motor to over time, the motor they get exhausted. So waiting where their bodies that they try to do in that situation, because they still produce insulin. When the insulin that they work, yeah, the tendency na say the body they try for produce so much insulin for compensate, for make sure say make it work. So when their pancreas don't work for so many years, they do over times. They like motorway, they run always at 200 speed, ma put on that way. At some point, the engine will just die. So that pancreas and it will work so at some point it will become exhausted. It go build so much insulin and then it get they call it say atrophy. Then it die because it don't overuse itself. Because it is struggle for make sure say that insulin be enough for do the work over there. But then the insulin for some reason it not be sensitive to the receptors, so it not be used up. So with those people, they were not type 2 people, their insulin is still work, but it not be as effective. So most often it affect the treatment as well. As I talk, if you be type 1 diabetic where your pancreas be completely damaged, they produce insulin where insulin be absolutely necessary. The only way for you for live, now say you must choke yourself with insulin. So usually now young people, they're under 20 and they usually be slim and stuff like that. But the type 2 when are the commoner type, when are 90% of diabetics in a type 2. Now a lifestyle it be caused mainly, all of them they get a genetic basis. But type 1 most more than type 2, it be more of a genetic problem. So usually when you get type 1 diabetes, your child or your children, if you get them too, because there's a strong genetic component, okay? And that's when you get it happening with younger children or adults. But with a type 2, now mainly a lifestyle disease. There's still an element of genetics in it, but more is a lifestyle problem, because the
Okay.
people the way they be mainly affected now, people they're like we, so we with big skin, obese, inactive, you know yeah, let's say it as it is. So now the characteristics this for the type 2 diabetics are mostly people above 30, but again, you know me, so you know if you get them under 30. So just a summary: type 1, the problem is nature. You just be
Mm-hmm.
unlucky, say your pancreas need to work. Type 2,
Mm-hmm.
the problem na you, meaning say the problem na me, where I need to do sports, I dey grow fat, I be overweight, I need to take care of my blood pressure and all those other things that we na they call them comorbidities, other risk factors, them cardiovascular risk factors, they fit increase my risk of other illnesses that we'll fit talk about them later. So
Okay.
now it be important to know weighty how these two different types them the
They
big
come.
cost. One will
Mm-hmm.
affect also the solution or the management. So for the
Mm-hmm.
type 1, we don't talk say they don't get choice. They must take insulin, they must choke themselves. Type
Mm-hmm.
2, because your problem overeating, excessive calories, of course, genetics too, there. I know I blame everything not just on overweight, but most often overweight and inactive people. Yeah, so the first solution for this type now for do those things, exercise and diet, aim for lose weight, but you're not losing weight like unhealthy. You got to lose weight in a healthy manner where you actually still make sure so your body be fed with the right nutrients. So now the two main differences in that. Type 1 will get
Okay.
any choice than insulin. Type 2 can if it with exercise and lifestyle changes. We don't always talk exercise. And when we talk about exercise, we're not just may you just come out study, do marathon and so on and so forth. With at least
Mm.
30 minutes every day, 5 days a week at least. That's what is expected. And for people that get busy lives, not too much now.
Yeah, the
You
shuffle
shake your eyes
every
into
day.
me.
Every
Well,
day. All
at
right.
least 5 days a week. 5 days a week.
Yes.
5 days, I think that's a prescribed thing, yeah.
Okay.
Then, but
Okay.
you actually get 140 minutes a week. But these are just now just to say the more we move, the better. And when we talk
Mm-hmm.
about lifestyle changes, we go not say easy. Person way like it chop those things they know easy for just change like that. But I get good news for now. The lifestyle change no mean you can start run marathon and all of that. If it been a small
Mm-hmm.
small changes they like, you start the climb stairs instead of taking the lift. If you go for shop, you want go park, no go park too close for inside the shop. Park a little distance so that you go be forced for walk a small can,
Okay.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
do those little things there. Make sure just go around the block, start with 15 minutes and then 30 minutes, then you're done. And you not must do all the 30 minutes in one go. You can do 15 minutes. People there that they work the day for office where they say they don't get time. You can just take during your break, go down, up and down 15 minutes, or you go out in the park. So not just that kind of small things them, such that you don't get to be so overwhelmed. Say, oh, I get to change something completely. I share Pastor Commander, you don't tell. So um yeah, so for type 2, when are the most common type, that's where we start with those lifestyle changes, healthy diet. If you don't know what to eat, because we get all kind of things they are writing on internet and so on, see your doctor. It will refer you to a dietitian where it will tell you exactly how to live, eat and lose weight, but in a healthy manner where they lack any nutrients and stuff like that. I hope I may go too much out of topic. Get question for me,
Okay.
ask some.
Yes. 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 I will wait. Say make you finish because you don't answer plenty of the question them. But
Oh
now,
yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, if you there for Ambazonia, you dey hear this we country talk where Papa got jam for we. You can call that number on the screen for ask doctor question. He go answer you. Correct. Doctor, I want to ask and say, how common this diabetes a day. I don't hear today na my first time for no say the type 1 e be strong past type 2. Me, I be checking now from 1, 2. So when you get type 2, you don't finish. But for wait way they talk, it is show say type 2, you fit move am. You fit try for reduce am, but type 1, you must take chuku chuku in order for live. So that one I don't learn am today. I no be know. Then how common this
Okay,
diabetes
wait,
be? And where to be the
wait.
causes of this diabetes?
Okay. Again, I think so. Don't answer that one for causes. The causes for type
Yes,
1. The cause for
yes,
diabetes, now insulin deficiency. Yeah.
yes.
For type 1, you have absolute deficiency, meaning your pancreas cannot produce insulin at all.
Mm,
Type 2, you have relative deficiency because your pancreas can still produce some insulin, but somehow
mhm,
that insulin cannot be utilized in the peripheral organs like your muscles and all of that that need the energy.
mhm,
So, and I want to clarify this because we talk say you fit start with type 2 by doing exercises and weight loss. You know, mean say na a simple, na an easier disease. No, now you said the danger that because na civilization disease in the sense say we eat too much and we eat a lot of junk food where they be low in value but they get high hidden calories because a lot of these things that when you buy we eat fast foods because people are busy or claim to be busy. So you end up eating these hidden calories without even knowing. Um, Being conscious, say, okay, you did chop too much because you just hold the tin, say, oh no, no, just this amount. But there's a lot of salt and sugar and all these things. So I just want to clarify, say type 2 no mean say it be a better the better one. A lot of type 2 diabetics, they still end up for use insulin in the end, like what I try to talk about say at the beginning, you get for first try without lifestyle changes and yeah, through healthy eating, weight loss, and exercise, avoiding the other things like smoking, alcohol, and controlling your blood pressure or blood cholesterol if it be high. But it not mean I say this on an easier disease because this thing like a progressive thing. Eventually when your pancreas don't run out of all the cells that they produce insulin, then you become like a type 1 because you don't get no way for producing insulin. Your pancreas don't be used, it does like an old car, you don't use them beyond damage, so it don't be exhausted because it don't produce so much insulin because it try for overcome that resistance, and then by so doing it don't use all in reserve, and then the organ itself don't if you can say die atrophy, don't yeah, it don't die. So it put you now in a state of this type 1. So I hope so I know the pass the message say type 2 now a better this thing. Of course, the fact that small window they say you fit do their lifestyle changes
yeah,
first.
yeah,
That's a good thing because a lot of it can be reversed depending on how far you are with the organ damage. But if you don't control those things, if you don't prevent, step in at the right time for do take those measures for control your weight, do regular exercise, and for prevent high blood sugars, you know, anyway, we'll talk about the complications of that. Then you will end up forget organ damage. Because the question might even ask put the question, why high blood sugar not a problem? This is the thing. Why it be a problem? Okay, think about it. You get the blood. Inside blood, you get normal cells. Then for inside, you get white blood cells, red blood cells, and hemoglobin, as we call them, and red blood cells, and different other particles them, where they help for do blood clotting. Now, when you get sugar for inside your blood vessel, as we see and where that this in the flow. When you get sugar, where that sugar get for come off for inside this blood vessel. Imagine saying this. I don't know how it is. Now blood vessel this where blood flow through my through this, the sugar where they inside here is supposed to go into cells them so that they go use them like petrol for do their work, their cell function. But enough it go because insulin no dey. So now wait it happen, that sugar they remain inside here. So wait till if you get a lot of it just make the blood very thick and mushy. And so then you start get problems then because of that. Because sugar get if it say an osmotic function, so to say, as it become it remain inside your bloodstream and it make that blood thick. it actually pull water, a lot of water from with it. So now you get you become dehydrated because your cells are now they shrink. Water they be pulled inside your blood vessel because the blood too thick, you know. And then when you get a lot of that water now inside your blood vessels, you get for peace too because the your kidneys then they're like washing machine, you know. So the more volume you give, your heart get for pump and then your kidneys take away the waste and then send this thing out. So now why that way you see sometimes some people present as diabetes patient that they come now because they over peace. Now one of the main signs in that you get what they call and the three P's. Polyuria, poly means say plenty. Urea means say you urinate. So now because of that high sugar weight, don't make your blood be thick in it. They're like mud, you know. So it pull water inside the blood vessels where the water come out from your other cells then. And so you end up being dehydrated. And then you piss too much because there's a lot of volume inside their blood vessels, you know, from the cells then. And then when you piss too much, you become now very thirsty because you get for yeah the system, the human body, they always try to compensate. So when you piss a lot, then you want drink too much. So you will see some of those young patients that they are complaining now. Some of you drink like 6 liters of water a day. He will tell you say they piss a lot, and then he lose weight. You know, so you get that polydipsy. The drinking too much is calling is it's calling it's called polydipsia, and then urinating too much polyuria. Then sometimes you get they lose a lot of weight, particularly the type 1, because they don't get insulin at all. It means say their cells and the staff, they're not there like type 2 where they get some insulin, so they still be able for use for take up glucose and use them for their cells. So type 1 they be really a danger. Now why they usually come like slim patients in, or the so person will give you a history of weight loss. If you lose 5 kilos in 1 week where they don't do anything, but that's because when they don't they in a state where they don't get any insulin at all, it means that they don't fit make use of glucose. Your body they will stand now for use up all their other reserves then, because we store fat and proteins, you know, for muscles and for fat stores. So when this type 1 they don't get that insulin, they will start attack their fatty tissues because somehow the body must get energy, you know. So if you don't get them from the glucose through carbohydrates, it will start break down fats, and then when it break down those fats, now a source of energy that. But the thing I said that one get to a problem at the long run because when it break those fat molecules, even though it will get energy, it finally produce some bodies the way we call and say ketone bodies. That one then they make your blood be very acidic, and where it cause a lot of different problems then, you know. So if you get people then way they realize that they lose weight uncontrolled in a very short time when nobody them want them. You did piss a lot, you did drink a lot of water, you be tired and weak or lethargic as we call them, you know. They need for really go hospital as soon as possible for make sure say they don't get diabetes. Yeah, so the point I want really make and I say type 2, whenever we talk say it be better than type 1. The point I say it be some things that be reversible, and you get a chance say you know must get to the point of needing insulin if you try for get onto those lifestyle changes early enough, and then and you're lucky say that one manage the problem. So yeah, I don't
Wow.
know.
Yes, thank you
I hope so
plenty.
it makes sense because I get the feelings that it too talk, so I don't know.
Too much sense. You did too talk, but which is very good. Going and
Thank you.
answering, answering some of the question the way I get them for here,
You
where I
never
want
ask
for
her, right?
as we have just ask them. One of the question where you don't just answer now. So now the question I want for ask, and the next question where we been I say, what are the signs? How you feel know say you get say diabetes, the one attack you or the other attack you or something like that, but you don't answer them. I don't get one of the very important answers. Say you go pee plenty time. Sometimes you don't run go piss,
Yeah.
sometimes you don't go piss. So the question what we
Yeah.
add them for this for us and say if you dey drink plenty water, then you go piss. Now say the diabetes don't come on a how. Where you drink plenty water, for example, if you drink 2 liters of water for a stretch, and then after that you go peace. Now one of the signs that way if you quickly run go for wasapita but go find out whether you get diabetes.
Okay. The first thing I will advise all man I say, whether you get symptoms or you don't get symptoms, all we need for do checks. We no
Okay.
say for our country, we no get that facility now, but if we fit, may any man just try say once in a year, at least once in a year, or once in six
Mm-hmm.
months, just go see your doctor, may he check some few things and like your blood sugar, your cholesterol, high, your blood pressure, your thyroid function, kidney function, liver function, just that kind of screening. You go just do a test there for get those. But for person who you go suspect they get diabetes, where you say, okay, I get for must go, go, something is wrong. Of course, if you drink 3 liters of water, where would you encourage that for normal active person, 2 to 3 liters a day, especially in hot season, then you go piece too plenty. But when you talk about the kind of piece where you say, say it be abnormal, the patient they say they know because now really buckets of, I mean, it's a lot, and then it be very clear, and the thirst now the kind of way person feel when you start to drink 5 liters of water a day, you need to check, that's not really usual. So if you get those signs and, the overpiece, not be only overpiece or overdrink, we talk about amounts like 5 liters of urine or water, so to say, and then you get weight loss, accompanying weight loss, and some kind of extreme tiredness where say your body not be yourself. Oh, definitely you get for must go hospital, and even if
Okay.
you don't get all the three symptoms you better still
Mm-hmm.
go hospital make a checkup, because some people they maybe with the weight loss they go notice and after,
Mm-hmm.
and some patients the one can where they already be unconscious and is very dangerous. So, like I talk, you better make appointments to see your doctor regularly, every 6 months for more elderly patients or people that they get other sick, or at least once a year. But the risk people then are people that get a family history.
You know
If you
why I
be
dey laugh
type
plenty?
one,
You know what you had the laugh
no,
plenty talk before you finish talk. I dey laugh plenty where you talk say you better see your doctor. Like say for we village for here for Boya and for Ekuna, that we will get with personal doctor. They
I
will just
know. I
all right.
know, I know. It's
Yeah.
hard, but I just talk say if we get some
Yes.
person where if we get some center around, just try,
Mhm.
just go once in a
Yes.
while. Just say, hey, doctor, you want me to check you for this. But
Mhm.
how we do? Would advise on the best case, but we know with
Yeah, no, the
situation what
tidbit
they
is
inside.
correct.
Maybe unfortunate,
The,
yeah.
the tidbit them fine
And
plenty. The tidbit them
okay,
fine
but must
plenty.
still talk about the signs and symptoms. So that signs and what I talk about mainly um
Mm.
especially with the weight loss, now more of the type 1. Because as I talk, since they not fit use glucose, because they not just get insulin at all, they must attack some other thing when some other energy store. We physically get
Mm-hmm.
energy, not be only from carbohydrates, from fats and from proteins. But I say when you break down your muscles, then you become weak and lean and tired. When you break down the fats, of course, for the overweight people, then they're happy, say they don't lose weight. But the point that the other acidity of the blood will become now another problem where it cause plenty problem with their breathing and so on. Now for type 2, they don't get some very sharp symptoms. So that type 1, they get acute onset, meaning say it happen within days or hours. So some of they find yesterday, if you do okay last night, and then today morning, it just start get those symptoms, they become acutely unwell. So now the characteristic that of that type 1. Yeah. So acute onset and those symptoms they will be very marked. But for type 2, it be rather gradual. And why that the danger of type 2? Because they not know, get some clear symptoms, now very vague symptoms, the way they feel be for any other problem. Even with high blood pressure, people just feel tired, lethargic, as we call them, and usually in obese people, then they be inactive. They just feel a bit woozy for their head, so to say. Especially when the blood sugar don't grow very high, if it make you be a bit confused, but or just be very clear for your head. So the symptoms for type 2 they be even tricky because they're not be easily identified. Type 1 will not say something is wrong, or at least the people them around you because they see them in a short space of time, 3 days or 2 or 1 week. Person don't lose a lot of weight or he go toilet continuously, you will notice them. But type 2 na gradual onset and if you be masked because if you look like anything, it can be like old age. Somebody say, oh no, I say you're a fat, or if you work this, that, the people put onto so many different things. So where it may say if you know you feel fine, the answer na say see your doctor. We know the difficulties back home. We pray say things that will change soon by God's grace, and with system to go change for we also live, we get a life expectancy will be as high as we see them for any other place. We chop the way they be organic, that they can't buy, take, we chop them for they can sell them for here for we don't change taste, change all kinds of things. We get those things naturally, but we just don't get a healthcare system, yet where if we back up for make sure say more live till old age, ripe age, and will live also healthy. So
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. For when I hear this story, you will get a for us doctor. Doctor, they here. See that number wait there for your television screen or for your Facebook screen. Just call that number and ting ling ling ling. Doctor go answer all question the way you get them. Even if na health question will be out of this program where for this topic where they talk today, it go still answer. So, doctor, wait to I want ask you now say, how somebody if he actually okay, you don't talk plenty how way if he manage the diabetes, any man will get that if he manage them, but then how man fi monitor the diabetes after you don't be treated or when you don't know say you get them. If doctor don't tell you say you get them, I know say will surely give you some medicine, but when you don't drink the medicine, that say when you start for drink the medicine, you go drink and sote, or you fit treat them, the thing go, then you become manage them.
okay, for type 1, once they don't do the test, they don't confirm as in a type 1. Unfortunately, na a lifelong thing. You know if you treat them. The treatment well, oh, sorry, wrong statement. Let me say you know if you treat them, you know if you go again because your pancreas fit produce insulin. So you go
Mm.
always live on insulin all your
Wow.
life. And for these people, then they need a lot of discipline because they never normally get for chop. You know that belief will be get and say, "Oh, you get diabetes? No, you don't get for chop this one. You don't get for chop this one."
Mm.
Things that don't change a lot. Yes, you
Mhm.
want really reduce the kind of foods the way they call us in high. Um, Oh, sorry, am I getting it wrong? Yeah, high glycemic index foods. And mostly now this kind of carbohydrates they be white, like bread, rice, fufu, yams, just white starchy products. And they get that kind of sugar where when you take them, you go shoot your sugar right up, and then after like a short time, then you drop them. The sugar level will drop. So we
Mm.
dey try for anyway. I know I'm going into this much, but this one now why I would refer these patients to a dietitian so that the fish sit down, they really teach them what kinds of foods they fit eat. But right now, nowadays, diabetics are not going to be excluded. Like you know, if you chop this, you know, if you chop that you did just especially those that be on insulin you dey calculate the amount of units them or calories the way you dey take them you fit estimate them no be say you dey with time they master them they know say when I chop one plantain is equal to so many units and therefore I need this amount of insulin for make use for take the glucose into my cells anyway so the diet be important the thing of avoid this kind of white starchy foods but with the way to be promoted a healthy, balanced, especially balanced diet with more grains, brown starch, anything we want to chop, even a rice, maybe in a brown rice where you see get the kanda, the skin, or whole grain cereals then, and fruits and vegetables. Because one thing there with sugar, when you just chop raw sugar, must say like drinks, all this fruit juice, Coca-Cola and so on, those ones are the most dangerous things because they're just gonna plain sugar. They don't get no fiber. Even fruit juice. So man will tell say, no, it healthy. I know they drink beer, they drink a fruit juice. Yes, but you dey drink fruit juice. How they do make the juice? Wait till they don't do. They don't squeeze only the juice and the fiber for the fruit will be very important. They don't take them out. So you dey just take na pure sugar inside you. Okay, people there they get complications where they get low blood sugar. That's another thing. At the C weight, I don't know whether we'll come to that question about complications because it be very important. You
Yeah.
need instant sugar. That kind of thing be good for you. But I just talk about general because some even me as I used to think like that. Oh no, fruits are good. Therefore, fruit juice is also good. Yes, it might be natural, but trust me, anything where they packet them, if you ever swear, if you ever be natural, there must be some added
Mhm.
stuff in it. And I believe that where they need declare. And then the second
Mm-hmm.
thing I say, they don't extract the fruit from ikanda, from this way. All those things, they get their own function. Fiber be very important. If you just take
Yeah.
plain sugar, you eat it just be absorbed so fast, and then you get that high spike. Because now those spikes, they
Mm-hmm.
what you try to avoid them. In diabetics, we don't want to make sugar go too high, then you give insulin, you go too low, you go up and down like that, because it affect the functioning of your cells. The intention of maintain a steady state for the glucose level throughout, and avoid that kind of spikes thing. But when you chop sugar, like with some fatty thing, master, you chop, you take something sweet, master chocolate, or I don't even know which combination I think give them, and groundnuts. When sugar be absorbed with fat, the absorption of the sugar be slowed down than when it's just pure sugar. So
Sugar.
now, why that way fruit juice? I just want to give that hint. When people they want to say no, fruits be healthy, particularly diabetes, be very careful. The content of the sugar be too high, and there's no fiber, so the absorption be very fast, and then you will get a high spike. So you be better off
Mm-hmm.
eating the fruit, the natural fruit with the fiber. It go take now the sugar will be released slowly. So now the thing that we talk about low GI foods, them way in a way they be preferred. Meaning say when you chop the sugar may just go so it dey shoot up. It dey release the
Mm-hmm.
glucose small, small, small. Now the kind foods that
Mm-hmm.
they be good. And are those brown foods, brown bread, brown rice, peas and vegetables. And yeah, your dietitian. Oh God, I talk dietitian for home front, but una forgive me. So for home front, I one thing things are like plenty. If you be chop one big bundle of fufu, where you be diabetic, just take small, take one quarter. Then instead chop more than jama jama. Sorry, I need for really be come back to to home
Yeah,
front.
yeah,
Chop
yeah.
more
We
of the
get it.
jama jama and maybe fish, and then small of the fufu. But nowadays, people that they grind plantain, they make plantain flour. Plantain can still starch, but
Mm-hmm.
be as high in this thing like maybe white fufu, or
Mm-hmm.
just plain maize. So
Mm-hmm.
I know it was going to be a question. I don't divert. I mean, we talk about
No, no, we talk about
complications.
the management, how to manage the
Okay, yes.
the
So that type one then, yeah, man, when I must get insulin, and that one will be something when I guess work a back. Me no man ever she don't try am on his own. You must go to the hospital. A doctor has to look, follow you up, monitor your sugar levels, and then decide how much insulin you need them. Most often it been a trial and error for the beginning. It depends on how sick you be. If you come with very high insulin levels, very high glucose levels, because think about them, as thick as your blood become, and so now it also and then you be dehydrated. So you get two problems. In one, you don't get fuel for your cells. Number two, you don't get water for inside your cells. So that one, the cause, and the brain has some organ will be very sensitive to lack of glucose. So people if it come with they just be confused. Some have to be unconscious when a lack of sugar. Now hypoglycemia. Hypo means say less. So when your sugar be less than a certain value, then your brain function be impaired. So you know the reason fine, or you just do like this and then you collapse. And then people might be thinking, okay, maybe not the heart or this, but maybe we na low blood sugar. So for practical this thing then, if you ever did for some places, some person just collapse, while you call ambulance or when I try to bring you for hospital, if anybody get any sweet or any sugar, just put them for your mouth because you don't know whether na na diabetes where you get a first presentation and where you get a low blood sugar. And some people they die very easily. It takes like a few minutes for people there to be completely they get very low blood sugar. The brain they depend on sugar as the main source of energy. Be very very vulnerable. If you don't get that, you will become confused or fall in a coma. Sorry, say time the go short, but I see you want to ask something.
yes. I want to ask because this one we don't just talk now. So now the complications of the diabetes.
Correct. Yes.
Okay,
It can be a
okay,
presentation.
mm-hmm.
If it been at a presentation, but it is not complication for diabetes. Um,
Okay.
because you get, even though the blood sugar, yeah, the glucose they high inside your bloodstream, your cells they know they get them. I hope so they understand. Glucose be high
Mm-hmm.
inside blood, but your cells they starve because the thing where you go take that glucose transport your cells when at the insulin, they, or if it they, they work fine. So while your blood be thick, it become thick, it destroy other organs, and your cells and they starve, they dey for starvation mode, you know. So the complication them, as we talk now, say more say first from that state of thick blood where they like mud, be muddy. That blood first it start to destroy your blood vessels then. Because imagine the blood suppose thin where it flow through, but now you get some thick kind of muddy thing. So it tight for the wall. That too much chronic high sugar, it destroy the walls of the vessels, and any destruction where it be caused for any part for your body, your immune system will try for attack them, for try for sort out the problem. Then it go attract cells, then active cells, and they go come back and form on top. Then they start to form plaques and things like that, where it now distort the vessel inside, and then that one na foundation for clots, for things and for can settle on top, because my whole inflammation where it be a process where be a cascade, so to say, it be triggered, and then it cause all that different cells that can react, and then if you finally can close up your arteries, so in the end of a cause vessel damage for big vessels as well as small vessels. And when we talk about the big vessels, and the big vessels, and they affect, they be mainly involved, or they involve mainly the heart and the brain. Those big vessels, and they eventually be deformed, and then you start get layering of, depending as well on your other problems that we get them. Many a times you'll see person will get diabetes type 2, he get other problem because now an obesity related problem, he get problem with high cholesterol, high blood pressure, all those things. Then high blood pressure also they affect the blood vessel, the wall, and then the cholesterol, the fat, also the layer inside there, and then it close up this blood vessel. At some point, a clot will form, or any of these fat plaques, as we call them. If it be dislodged now, it go now for your heart, it come out from the big vessel. When that thing where it dey inside here, the hand, it be pushed by your bloodstream, of course, and then it goes later on to some smaller vessel. It completely block that vessel because the thing be bigger than the lumen of the smaller blood vessel. It causes a heart attack. So you see a lot of diabetics type 2, they come with those late complications where they usually come in like 10 years from the onset of their diagnosis. So you see they get heart attack like common complication, as well as strokes. So that damage, that big vessel damage will lead to strokes and heart attacks. So, and then another problem too, I say, with that high blood sugar, as we talk, it also damage nerves. So if it damage your nerves, them, and sometimes it lead to, or you, like, a common thing with the see of diabetics, they don't get feeling for their feet and their hand. When you talk, say, they describe them as socks and glove pattern. They not really feel their legs, their feet, and their hands them. And then wait if it happen, I say they walk out. If you walk out barefoot, you go mash something like some nail, and then back home, particularly if nail, be where be infected with tetanus, that is a problem. Not only tetanus, when you get you no get feeling under your feet, then you go stand, you wound your foot through some nail or some bottle, feel them, even know say the wound day. So before you know, you work out on top, on top, on top, without one the deep, it go, the see am. Now why they be very, very important. Say any man we get diabetes must they do what you call and say foot check. You must look, if you know if it go down, you just say look and put mirror or front, you put your foot so that you can see whether you get wound. As we talk, because the high sugar don't damage your nerves and they don't function again, right? I don't know whether you follow Pastor
Yeah, I do follow you.
Mohammed.
I do follow you.
Okay,
One
okay,
hundred
yes.
and
So that nerve damage, people they go match thin, then they know, then they get wounded, na chronic, na source of bacteria for enter, and then because they know the feel, by the time they want notice on time, you want see some money food on rotten. Some person want come for hospital where pause don't dig for a food so they they feel anything because that diabetes already damaged the nerves. So with one talks
Mm-hmm.
diabetes in because they cause pain. Make people not take it lightly. Now it's silent killer because now there's late complications to be the problem. As I talk, it cause
Wow.
strokes, heart attacks, but the other small vessel disease where they cause them, that high constant high sugar, it deform those blood vessels for your eyes, where if it can lead to
Mm-hmm.
blindness. So that's one,
Wow.
and the one for your kidneys, them where finally if it cause kidney failure, your kidney na like the washing machine for your body. It take away waste, it wash up waste and stuff like that. So when
Mm-hmm.
that chronic high sugar, it actually deform those small tubules that they work, well, the vessels of the kidneys, let me put it that way. Eventually, if you excrete the toxins, them when they do for your body, it means that you necessarily poison yourself. And so you must get that one out. People, they end up being on dialysis because of diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
So now one of the commonest causes in that for dialysis, now diabetes. So
Wow.
look like since we're talking this one they take insulin, this one they take insulin. That one are the method of treatment. The end point now say all of them they be at high risk of those complications if they don't control the blood sugar because a constant state of high sugar in your blood it will lead to those complications. And I want just still talk about the foot problem, with the nerve damage. It sounds like some small thing, but it start with some small pin where pin you go stand on top. It start to grow. You start to get a deep wound. Bacteria they start settle inside. It go deeper, deeper. So it even go affect your bone. Your bone has some very deep tissue way for cure that kind of infection be very very difficult. You need strong antibiotics so that it should come through your vein and for a long time. And then you fit get now at some point that bacteria they feel plenty so they just you get a big amount going into your bloodstream where it will be now carried throughout your whole system where you call it say sepsis. That one a very now emergency and where a lot of patients they too that they die from that. So now a very big thing for make sure say me diabetic always check your food. If you know if you see your food, tell your woman or your man, your pekin or whoever there for house. If you there you want, you put your mirror. Wake up every morning, you check, you look your food whether something there. If you see some spot where it look like it red or something there just be abnormal, make sure say you see doctor, make they see whether if he scrape them, whether you need antibiotics early enough. This thing don't lead to amputations. They cut people their foot them because some they want notice where some part for their foot don't black. Not die body where it be attached, you still get them for your skin. Because you don't get feeling, and the look you don't know. So by the time you want to see them, it don't already be too late. So now the big complications of that for diabetes, where we have to take them very seriously because might just list them again: heart attacks, strokes, blindness, kidney failure to the point of dialysis, and then what you call diabetic foot syndrome. As I talk, it start with this damage of the nerve vessels and also the arteries. You end up having sensation problems. The feel. You get wounds there. If you notice, by the time once the wound don't get to a stage where it hard for cure the for treat them, and then people they end up for become amputated, they become wheelchair bound. So not be small sick. Now sick where you get plenty, plenty, plenty.
Complication them.
Um,
Complication them for day.
yes,
We
exactly.
become adults day. Well, doctor, thank you very plenty. We time don't be up. I will get plenty of questions the way I go ask them. I go back say next time we will repeat this one. Make you
Okay.
just give a summary for this particular subject again. Then I ask the plenty question the way they don't come from our mind. When I question the way they pass for the minds of the common people them. So just allow the people them and we will jump out for give chance for another program where it come up. Thank you very much for today.
Thank you so much, Pastor Commando, for your relentless efforts to always be with us. You just come up and make it your own program, and then you're producing everybody else. I really appreciate that, and I want to thank our technical team, our Deputy Secretary Chief Oben, and all those who work behind the scenes. Thank you, especially home front. Thank Una we IDPs for staying the course. Una stay strong. Una stay strong. The suffering is real, but trust me, there's joy. There's joy that is on the way. So more stay resolute. We don't see the wonderful work way Amazonians they do this weekend for we draft. So despite all the noise, we still get proof. This is a statement, very very strong statement where Amazonians they put and say, "Una no listen to lies. Una no listen to people that they be full of hatred. Now, not listen to people that be frustrated and and thieves, where they actually thief people their money, they don't draft them, and then they want try for victimize other people. The truth never hides. It just takes time. But I just beg everybody, say when I use common sense, when I not even listen to this nonsense station, they say something that they call and say gaga, garbage in, garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out. Sorry, gigo. Don't listen to nonsense. When you listen to nonsense, you start to think nonsense. So if you dey follow some person where he own work every day now for course of one person in name from morning to evening, but if he tell you what to be the own good way you do. You're good now for bring down others and to tell lies or bring allegations without proof. That's not the Amazonia we're dealing with. If you're so full of hate and frustration, go and get counseling. Even so-called pastor where say be make you go get counseling if you still get counseling from wherever. So you don't spend your whole time trying to condemn somebody. Show us way you don't do. Let Ambazonians see. So I just want to leave we on this very good note that we are winning bigly. The draft $445,000. Woohoo! After all the rumors that things are not happening, it's changing. Look, at the end of the day, we want to see the ground game. So to our fighters
For
and all our
445
restoration forces.
$445,000 $3. No, not $3
Yeah,
big.
okay, good. Yeah, to be specific.
$3.
That's true. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So please, ARS, no worry. When I listen to commander in chief, now the most consistent person we don't did for this revolution for all these years. Let no crooks or charlatans where they don't give them money from the Republic for can confuse we because they know say we they're really close to the winning point. They know say victory beef close. Now why do you get all this confusion? It is not a surprise. It is not a surprise. But let us stay focused. If some person they call una for begin twist on our ears and say this, that, sure, call your county chair, call your defense chair. We get a chain of command. Use those structures. Don't talk to strangers. Where are they from? What happened? Who said they be there for the past 5 years? Where all of a sudden today somebody come to give you a different name. Tell them, say, wait, if something that they work inside house, stay and fix it. Don't destroy it, don't steal it. No lose people their hard work when we get picking away, they die away, they don't even get a chop for chop. So I think so we'll get common sense. We for Amazonia will be very smart people. I thank God say foolishness nothing ever reign over wisdom. And lies, they nothing ever reign over truth. So when I look at who has been consistent, who has been there for you, Sheikh No Day, President Sako, he's doing a marvelous job with the entire interim government. We're not be one person. So I want to thank Una stay strong. See you same time next week. We will still expand on this program. So please, if you have any questions, when I get the questions, so that will make them interactive. Let it not be an all talking kind of thing. So you make more sense when I answer specific questions. All right. Thank you so much, and thank you, team, for producing me. Thanks, Pastor Commando. Good night.
All right. Thank you very much, and good night, Doctor. The Tory long plenty. I mean, the Tory sweet plenty, but time short.
Time short.
And the people them for somebody for Homefront has been struggling for call we for talk, but I will tell this person make it try call next week because we don't end up for another time. For 6 minutes, I like us to be very time conscious.
Oh yes, and so we get the news coming up. So please stay tuned. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and see you when we see next Monday.
Thank you, Pastor Commander. I appreciate your time so much.
Bye-bye.
Good night.